Hello, class. I'm coming to you from Denver. Um, we were on vacation, like I said in my announcements. We went to the zoo today. It was a lot of fun. I'm a little tired, but I'm excited to look through your magazine spreads. So I just want to, before I get started with the feedback, I just want to go over briefly what exactly I'm going to be talking about in the feedback for each of you. So this is not based on if you're meeting expectations or not, the minimum expectations. So don't get upset if I don't notice that you're not meeting one of them. This is more geared towards the design. So I'm going to be talking about contrast, repetition, alignment, proximity, visual hierarchy, all things that will be improving the visual appeal of your design. So it's on you to make sure that you've met all the minimum expectations, and I'll actually be grading your drafts here in the next day or two, and I'll cover whether or not you're meeting the minimum expectations there. So make sure that you check your draft feedback as well. I don't usually look through. I just go through and open up the instructor feedback post to save time, but this is pretty much my first glance, first reaction to what I see. So sometimes I might pause for a minute just to kind of take the design in. Don't think that I'm like over analyzing, but sometimes I won't say something right away. I'll just kind of stop and look at it for a minute just to see where my eyes go, and then I'll give you feedback from there. So let's get started. Usually I just go in order that they were submitted. So I encourage you to look through more or listen to more feedback than just your own, because sometimes you can learn things to apply to your own design that I say to your classmates. So it's just a good chance for you to learn a lot about ways to improve and about the design principles. I don't expect you to watch the entire video, but feel free to look at a few students before yours, a few students after. You can watch the whole video if you have the time, but it's a good idea to just listen to a few of them. So we'll get started with Kelly. All right, Kelly. So just from first glance, when I'm looking at this, without enlarging it, I like that you've got one nice big image on the first page and then a smaller image on the inside. The images are beautiful. If you took them yourself, you did a good job, which I think you probably did. I think that the layout is looking pretty nice. It's got a good flow to it. I like the columns that you've got going. They have space around the inside and around the outsides. You've got a good margin. The white space flows pretty well, so that's working well. And I like the way that you've chosen the purple color to match the purple in the dress in your images. So you've got some good solid start here. I think that I'm not sure about purple being everywhere in the background. I like that you've used purple, but I might make it a little bit more subtle and put white behind the text, and then just use accents of purple maybe for the headings and subheadings instead of having the entire background be purple. On this first page, I like that your heading is bigger than everything else, but I would say go even bigger. Go big or go home, I like to say. Really make it obvious that this is your heading, and you can even do some creative type, maybe split it onto 2 lines, play around with that. You could also change up your subheadings a little bit. Like I said, just make them have a little bit more contrast, even though they have a good size and font contrast, but still, and maybe it's just because this is called a widow or orphan. I always mix them up. This is a line all by itself. This heading should be connected to this paragraph, but it's on a separate column, so that's not good with proximity. You want to make sure that all of your subheadings are close, and that this also is a widow, I think is what they call them, a line of text all by itself. The paragraph it belongs to is over here, so widows and orphans are bad. So just try and adjust your text boxes so that that doesn't happen. You can play with your type size as well. On this spread, I think I love this big image, but it feels a little bit text heavy. You don't have to use your, well, it does look like you didn't use your entire article. I would use a little bit less text, as long as you have at least 600 words, just to give yourself some more space to breathe. The triangles in the background, they kind of cut through the words a little bit. They're a little bit too dark. So I would say play around, try maybe do something different with your accents. But I do like that you've repeated that. I think I saw it maybe. Oh, nope, I don't see it here. So just try to do something repeating a design element both here and here. I'm not necessarily against the triangles in the background, but as they are now, they are a little bit distracting and they make the text a little bit hard to read. So my other suggestion to you would be to look through some magazines and just get some ideas for layout and text wrap options. This is, it's a good start, but I think it could be better just with some playing with the layout a little bit. So let me know if you have any additional questions. Thanks, Kelly. All right, Alan. Okay, so my first thing that I see, I like that you've got the varying image sizes. You've got a nice big heading, and the background on the heading is nice. I would probably choose a different typeface. I would use the same, it looks like a slab serif up here instead of using a random scripty one that's not used anywhere else that I can see so far. So I would choose to repeat this one up here in your heading. It's hard to see right now with the screenshot of your screen, but make sure there are no strokes around the outsides of your shapes. So no little black outlines, keep them just solid. And I like that you've kind of got the multiple colors going on here, but I would like to see this go all the way to the edges. The little 2 squares of white space, they kind of distract me. So I think it would look better if you just, it's called bleeding that off the page all the way across. I like the stripes that you have repeating. You've got a lot of good things going here. Watch for widows and orphans, a word or a line of type all by itself, separated from the paragraph that it belongs to. And but your type looks like an okay size, I think. It's kind of hard to tell for sure. You should be able to look up the instructions on Google on how to take a screenshot. That will make it so that I can see better than like taking a picture of the screen with your phone. I like that you've repeated these boxes, but again, I would probably bleed that off the top as well. And then maybe bleed this off the bottom too, or move it up a little. I don't know, it just feels a little bit awkward to have such a small amount of space down underneath. It might look better to just extend this background all the way down. But I like your layout in here. I think it looks nice. Watch the spacing around your text wrap, kind of try to make it even all the way around. There's less space here and then more space on the top and the bottom. But your alignment looks good. I see a stroke around this text box, so you want to make sure that you take that off. Overall, though, I think this is solid. The white space flows well. You have good contrast with your subheadings. I think just working on tweaking the subheadings up here and the font, I wouldn't use this one. But yeah, I don't have a whole ton for you. You've done a really good job. So just little things, and hopefully you got some other good suggestions from the critiques. Thanks, Alan. All right, Jennifer, here we go. All right, so let's see. I think this must be our first page. The first thing I notice is this is a magazine, so you want to make sure that you don't do any horizontal layouts. So you're going to want to change the layout to make sure that it's vertical. With that said, I really like the simple contrast, and I like the text that you've kind of done creatively here. It looks nice, and I like that you've used the green to repeat the green of the leaves. So I love the detail of this picture paired with the simple white background. So as you turn that to be vertical, I think you should do something similar because it looks really nice. So I like what you have with that. And then you'll want to flip this one as well. I like the use of this grass. It looks nice and it's nice repetition. However, it looks a little awkward that it gets cut off right here and it feels a little bit top heavy. I think it would probably look better and be better like visual weight with visual weight and just what you would expect grass to be on the ground. So putting it at the bottom rather than across the top would be a good idea. Make sure you use at least 3 subheadings, but your colors look nice. You might want to try using a different, well, the difference in size between these two is good. And I'm okay with it being the same font, but you could try to do a different font, although you wouldn't want to really do that script one. So I'm okay if you keep that typeface being the same since it has a good contrast in size and color. But you maybe could do the brighter green just so it had a little bit more contrast. You're going to want to make sure that you play around with the layout a little bit on your spread because this is not actually a spread. This is just one page since you have it turned sideways. And you need to have 2 columns per page. So just be careful about that. Let me know if you have any questions about that. But you've got a good start, Jennifer. I love that you've got this nice open white background with the repetition of the green. So you're in a good path so far. I'm excited to see where this goes. All right, Jennifer Jackson, 2 Jennifers in a row. Okay, so this is looking nice. Cowboys conversion. I like that you've chosen a decorative typeface that goes well with the cowboy type theme, and your imagery works well with that too. I like that you have a nice big image here. I do feel a little bit like the visual weight is a little bit off on this page because you put this dark blue background up here and then the big heavy image down here. This text feels kind of sandwiched in between, and my eyes are kind of confused about what's going on the page. So I would probably get rid of that dark blue background. Even though I like that it matches the Book of Mormon, I would just make this text be that dark blue color. Instead, I think that would help your visual hierarchy a little bit. Your text looks like a nice, pretty small size, so that's good. And I think that I'm okay with the blue background, but I'm not sure if I like it all the way throughout. I think it might look better if you just did like, I don't know, changed it up a little bit so that some of the background was white too, just to increase the contrast a little bit. So like maybe the background of this page is white and then you keep the blue background over here or vice versa. This pull quote, I like that you have a different color behind it, but it feels a little bit too big right now. So I'd probably make it a little bit smaller, take off the stroke, and just so that it doesn't grab so much of my attention. I like the temple here. I like this image, but right now my eyes don't even see anything else on the page but your pull quote. My other suggestion would be to flip this temple image so that it's facing into the design instead of out. Same thing with this one. Have your subject be facing into the design instead of leading the eyes off the page. So you've got a lot of good things going on. You've got good type contrast. Just work on the details a little bit, and I think you'll be good to go. Thanks, Jennifer. All right, Janine, I'm excited to see yours. I like the quilt background. It works wonderfully. Okay. This looks nice. I love the white space and I love the flow of it. I think you're pulling off the centered alignment, and I really like the way that you've got these decorative lines aligning to the left and right. That helps. I think you could probably work on the leading here. The space between those feels a little bit too much. And then just like a little bumping that down a little bit would help. It just the spacing feels off here, as well as from top to bottom here. I think just work on moving that around until it feels a little bit more visually comfortable in the space. And then for your spread, I like how you got this repeating across both of them. I wonder though if maybe this one, if you had it across the bottom, that would help with your visual visual weight. It just feels like it would be more comfortable across the bottom. And then you could have it across the top here just so that there's a change visually from one page to the next. That would help increase the contrast. So maybe it's across the bottom here and then across the top here, or vice versa. Your white space looks really good. You've got nice, good margins. You have great contrast between your subheadings and your body copy. Your body copy is a good size. I think your pull quote could use a little bit more contrast. Maybe if you made a background color red and had the text white instead, maybe it's bleeding off the page, just like this bleeds off the page, or something like that, I think would help a little bit. And then your next page looks nice. I think that I would like to see these images offset a little bit more. They're like almost aligned, but not quite. It just feels a little awkward. So maybe move this one up or down instead of being right in the middle of that column. But overall, this looks really nice, Janine. So great job so far. Please let me know if you have any questions. All right, Andrew, this looks nice. I like this image, and I like the way that you've done father different than this part. That looks nice. I love what you've done, but I feel like it kind of makes me sad that you have text over this beautiful part of the image. I wonder if you could lay it out a little bit differently. Your text looks nice. The size looks good. Watch your spacing here. It feels a little bit tight across the top. Try to give yourself the same amount of space all the way around. So give this much space up here as well. Let's see. I would take off your stroke here and probably just bleed that background color all the way down to the bottom so there isn't that little trapped white space. And then your spread. Oh, wow, you've got a lot here. You went above and beyond, Andrew. You only need one spread. So I'll just look and pick my favorite. I think that you've got some cool text wraps going on. Just make sure that you don't cut images off awkwardly. Like you could keep this text wrap, maybe make it a little bit bigger, and then bleed the image off the bottom of the page. You could try that. You've got good contrast with your type, your subheadings, and your body copy. Be careful about spacing again. Just make sure all your text has space to breathe when you've got background images, and always take off the little thin strokes around the outside. That will just help with your visual flow. Overall, it's looking really good though. I would say probably simplify it down to just the 3 pages that are required. And then if you have extra text, just say continued on page, whatever. But overall, I think that you've got a lot of good things going on here. Just, I think, maybe look at a magazine just to get some other ideas on what you could do with the layout in your one spread. Because you've got a good start here, but I think from what I've seen from you, I think I can see better from you. So just try to create an awesome creative spread with great contrast. I think you can do it. Thanks, Andrew. All right. Let's see. Justina, last but not least. I hope I'm saying your name right, Justina. Okay, so I like that you've got some creative type going on here. This looks nice. I'm not sure about this typeface. It feels a little bit too casual and handwritten to me for the content. I don't think it really goes well with your message. So I would rethink that. You could probably find a script that would look really nice that's just a little bit less casual. And try and stick with only 2 typefaces. So let's see, you're having issues with the text wrap. I will check that out. If you still can't figure it out, email me and I'll help you with that. So work on your alignment a little bit. I like the creative alignment you've got going here, but this feels awkward centered. So play around with that a little bit and see if you can change it up. Maybe just have it written across the bottom. Maybe give yourself a black background and put that type down here somewhere so that it's a little bit easier to read, a little bit smaller. But I like the nice big image you have in the background on that first page. It looks nice. Your spread looks nice. When I look at these two, though, I love that it has a lot of contrast, but they almost feel like two different designs. There's not enough repetition currently. I want to see more of this black color in your design in the inside to make it feel like it goes with the first page. I know the text is black, but still, I think it needs a little bit more. So I like your big tech strap. That looks really nice, but it looks a little awkward to have her arm cut off. Maybe you could try putting that over here and the circle over here, but you've got a lot of good things going on. I would avoid centering your subheadings and use a different typeface, but overall, really well done. So I'm excited to see where this goes. Thanks, Justina. Let's see if I can find my way out of here. All right. Good luck, everybody.